It's time to get to work. Snap back to reality. Oh, here comes Tour de Fleece. Oh, dun, dun, dun. Are we ready for this? Are we ready for this? Are we ready for Tour de Fleece? Ready for what now? Every year I make the erroneous assumption that every one of you know what Tour de Fleece is. But also every year when I ask for questions, there is always a couple that ask, but frankly, what is Tour de Fleece? Now, Tour de Fleece is a community project amongst spinners worldwide to spin whenever the cyclists of Tour de France are cycling. The wheels keep on turning, both the spinning wheels and the bicycles. It is just an encouragement to spin more frequently, have fun, challenge yourself, try new things. All in all, make community, make friends, and just have an all-round good time, or at least that's my definition of Tour de Fleece. My Tour de Fleece this year will be firstly spin some lovely Shetland and then spin some lovely Zwartbles, as you might have seen in my preparation video. If you haven't seen that, there or there, you know where to find it. Just making a mental note here, it is Saturday the 5th of July, it is 7:49 in the morning, and we are about to spin the very first centimeters of Tour de Fleece 2025. Yep, that's it, we're off. It has started officially. There we go. The first official meters of Tour de Fleece 2025. Or, well, centimeters. I don't think that's multiple meters. Maybe two. So I opted for both my Tour de Fleece fibers to be in a carded prep. And during my prep video, I just said, I want bats. I just want bats. Why did I want bats? Over the course of the last year or a year and a half, I have become very much a long draw spinner, and I prefer to spin long draw with bats. Why do I prefer this? Well, because the resulting yarn is just everything I desire. It is so soft and bouncy and has like that little halo of scraggly, waggly bits of wool. Yes, that is the yarn I desire. That's the yarn I want to spin. And that's why I will go for a carded prep and then a long draw or woolen spin, so that everything just goes chaotically into the yarn and not smooth. Like when you comb a wool and then spin it in a short forward draft, you will have a very silky, smooth, drapey yarn, which might be your preference, and if it is, all the more power to you, but it's not mine. I want the very rustic looking, scraggly, waggly yarns that, you know, just give you some kind of halo when you wear a knitted item with it. So that is why carding and long draw this Tour de Fleece. Are there fibers where I will prefer to not do that? Of course there are. Like this Shetland and that Zwartbles are both amazing to do it with. They are the kind of fibers that just give the yarn that extra fluff, that extra oomph. There are other fibers, however, and I'm going to show you, I'm just starting with Tour de Fleece. You're not expecting great amounts of yarn yet, so I can take a little break. This is a little sample spin that I was doing of a new to me fiber. I got a fleece of Ardense Voskop from our local heritage museum Bokkerijk, and this is a fiber I would comb and maybe also spin in a short forward draft. That last bit might be a lie. Firstly, this is a sheep that has quite a bit of camp in its fleece. How do you remove said camp? Combing. If you card that fleece, the camp would just still be in your yarn, and that might cause more of an uncomfortable yarn. Like, it will be itchy, so it will be more of a rug yarn or a yarn for outerwear. But like the non-campy parts of the wool are super soft, so I kind of wanted to try and get most of that camp out, and I think I did a good job with combing. Those are some little combed nests of that Ardense Voskop fiber. Another reason why I prefer this prep and this spinning is because I am part of the My Ligaments Are Made Out of Spaghetti Noodles club, and for me this is much... There's a butterfly in the studio, oh no. Might need to rescue that later. For me this is much easier on my fingers, my hands. You don't pull as hard, you don't pinch as hard, and just turning the drum carder is much easier than the combing motion all of the time. And this means I can prep and spin more without getting injured. My limp noodles are another reason. And yes, for those who are new here and don't know this, I am spinning my singles with S-twist, so counterclockwise, which might be counterintuitive to you because you might have learned that you spin your singles with a Z-twist. I do this because I knit in an Eastern uncrossed way, which means that my stitches get formed much more like a crochet stitch than a knit stitch, or the yarn behaves much more as if I were crocheting. So if I spin my yarn opposite of what most people tell you to do when spinning yarn for knitting, it doesn't untwist itself as much. And I just like yarn like this, and I've been doing this for quite a while now, and right now it has just become a habit as well to spin my yarns like this. I'm also spinning this yarn a little bit thinner than I did in the sample, because my sample I think came out to a DK to worsted weight. I want a little bit more meterage out of this Shetland. There isn't all that much Shetland, like I got 9 bats. I want a sweater quantity in meterage, so I think it will be a sweater knit on thinner needles, and a very cropped one as well. I've been spinning for about 2 hours now, and just look at the gorgeous color variation. Mwah. Mwah. As you might hear, I have just been chased out of the studio by a horde of wild musicians. It's only 10 o'clock on the first day of Tour de Fleece. How rude. Well, it'll be spinning with background music now. If you want to have that background music as well, you can find them on Spotify as The Yellow Line. Bat/bobbin numero uno is done. It is now 12:11. Yay! So now one thing I want to say about all the answers I'm giving to the questions that you have asked me. It is true. I have not been rambling spontaneously to the camera. No, I actually have a structure for my videos, and structure are your questions. And I want to say most of my answers are going to be answers that come from personal experience and personal preferences. I am not a technical spinner. I am not a theoretical spinner. On the contrary, actually, my biggest pet peeve when it comes to spinning and any other kind of crafts is the school of thought that I like to call technique essentialism. I dub that the school that think that there is one true way to do things, that there is a best way to do things, while I am of the opinion actually that for spinning and any other kind of craft, it is really good, it is vital that you know the basics, but all the rest I feel you should experience yourself, and you must find out your own preferences for things. Like basic knowledge, basic theory, and all the rest is Fingerspitzengefühl. If you want someone to tell you how to exactly do this for this specific fiber or this specific technique, then that will not be me. This is my hobby and I have so much joy, I get so much joy out of it, and I want to portray all that joy to you so that maybe you can find a hobby that also brings you this much joy. That's it. Thank you for listening to my disclaimer, which was, by the way, also an answer to a question. And that might already be blatantly obvious, but my pets get thoroughly peeved whenever the technique essentialists get into my comment section. Again, I'm not a technical spinner. I don't aim to be a technical spinner. I am just a chaos goblin. I'm a little goblin that does things by feelings, by whims. This is going to be me for today. I think I have done a little bit over 1.5 bats. That's a great start for the first day of Tour de Fleece. Now I have to go do some family gathering. That is every year on the first day of Tour de Fleece. Rude, but okay. I hope you are hydrating this Tour de Fleece, taking care of yourself, not forgetting that you have actual needs while spinning. Is this more a reminder for myself? Maybe. It's day 2, let's finish the remainder of this second bat. And my plan for today is have at least one finished skein. Sunday, so I've got all the time. I've just finished my second bat, however my 2 bobbins are miles away from being equally filled, so I'm designated this bat to be the equalizer. Like, I have an odd number of bats anyway. I also carded them based off of vibes instead of weight, so I might need this for other bobbins as well. So let's equalize my bobbins. Like, it's clear that this one just has a lot more yarn on it. And at first I was like, yeah, that's what plying bracelets are for, but this is going to be a plying gauntlet, and I'm not looking forward to it with this fine yarn, so I'm just going to spin a little bit more and then designate it one bat. Right? Sacrifice the bat. We can get started with plying. And while we are plying, I will tell you a story, because like my tiny children you are always asking for the same bedtime story, and I will gladly indulge. I think I need a new leader on this bobbin though. This has completely worn out. So the story I want to be telling you today is the story of how I got into spinning. The story is rather dramatic, involving accidents, lots of pain, and YouTube. I was always, as a kid, interested in fiber arts because both my grandmoms were just fiber arts prodigies. My paternal grandmom had been sewing all of our clothes all of the time. Our New Year's parties were fashion shows, and my maternal grandmom just knitted like the fiber goddess she was. So at a very young age I was taught how to knit, how to crochet, and a little later also how to sew. But then, in 2021, on an icy, cold morning, I took my bike to go to work, because even though it was the pandemic, my boss didn't believe in work from home. However, right before my house was a big icy spot, and my bike slipped from underneath me. And since I already have hypermobile joints, of course my leg went somewhere it shouldn't, and that resulted in a subluxation of my hips. This subluxation quickly also got me some bursitis, which meant that I could not leave the house or go to work for about 4 months. Now, what do you do when you're like kind of sort of bed bound or sofa bound for 4 months? Well, in my case, I spent a lot of time watching YouTube. And when I was through the backlog of all the videos of Bernadette Banner and Rachel Maxey and Morgan Donner, I stumbled upon a new niche. And that niche was natural dyeing. I stumbled upon the channel of Cabin Boy Knits, who just makes absolutely fun videos about natural dyeing, and I was hooked. I felt a calling deep within me. This is what I wanted to do, and this was something that I, in my state of not being able to do much, was able to do. So I started dyeing my yarn with plants that I found all over the garden, and it was riveting. It was so much fun. However, there was one downside to all of it, and that is that getting undyed 100% pure wool yarn to Belgium meant I had to pay shipping fees, international shipping fees. And I did not like that. So then there was a brain weasel in my mind that told me, but yeah, Jente, there is of course a way that you can get undyed 100% wool yarn, like technically for free, because you know a sheep farm. And Facebook Marketplace is riddled with cheap second-hand spinning wheels. Yep, it was me being greedy, being stingy, that got me into spinning. So I bought the cheap Facebook Marketplace spinning wheel, which is my Toika Irene, and YouTube was my master, my teacher. I spent so much time watching Jillian videos and just practicing spinning at the same time. And that was it. I was hooked. The flyer hooks got me. That's a nice story, isn't it? Now you can go to sleep. What advice would I give baby spinner Jente in 2021 with all the knowledge that I have now? I don't know, actually not all that much advice on spinning itself, because I think I stayed true to myself and my own philosophies in learning how to spin, and I really experimented with what I liked, how I liked it, and I'm still learning along the way. I've only been spinning for 4 years now, so maybe I'm now a toddler spinner instead of a baby spinner. But I think the main advice I would want to give 2021 Jente is fleeces are not a finite resource. You don't need to hoard so much. It's not necessary. Also, tell your local farmer that 30 kilo bags of fleeces is way too much for one spinner, especially if they're just starting out. You know, if I was going to give advice to a beginner spinner that is not me in 2021, it would be just don't stress so much. I feel like there are a lot of people that stress about, oh, but what if I'm going to mess up and I need to know everything perfectly before I start? No, just start. As I say, a lot of spinning is Fingerspitzengefühl. It's feeling the differences, and you only get that feeling in your finger. You only recognize that what you're doing is correct or what you're doing is what you want to be doing by practice. It's just practice, practice, practice. That's everything there is to it. And there are just as much ways of making yarn as there are spinners. There isn't really a wrong way to do it. So my main advice for a beginner spinner that is not me in 2021, don't stress so much. If you're stressed, no, this hobby wants to be the antidote to stress. Right? You get it, you got it. Just don't stress so much. It's going to be okay. Do it. And then secondly, actively use your first yarns that you create. You know, even if they are thick and thin and slubby and everything, use them because one, they might be amazing in what you're going to use them, and secondly, by using your yarns, you also learn what you prefer, what kind of yarn you want to make. And another thing, I always forget how long plying actually takes. I'm always like, I've spun 2 bobbins, now I'm going to ply. My yarn is nearly done. No, plying takes just as long. Aw, little friend, are you trying to stay dry? Oh. Goal for today achieved! And I wasn't actually, let's sit down. I wasn't actually planning to make chunguses again, but it just so happens that I spin chunguses during Tour de Fleece. I don't even know if the camera is able to pick up this delectable oatmeal color of the fleece. It's just so good. I love it, and I'm so going to enjoy knitting with it because it's like slightly variegated in places. And I know that out of all the people in the world, you are going to be the ones that will not look at me weird when I say Shetland smells amazing. Yeah. And now for the minute recording in my little fiber diary. This is skein number 16 of the year. It's just going to be number 1. Today, well, I started on the 5th of July 2025 and I finished it the 6th of July 2025. It is approximately 150 grams. And it is also approximately 415.8 meters. Which makes it then a sport to DK weight. And that was what I was aiming for. Just something that I can comfortably knit on 3mm needles. I'm so happy with this. My first skein of Tour de Fleece! Yeah! Tour de Fleece is always like the moment in the year where I spin the most length, the most skeins, the most everything. And my skein skein is just 1 meter short of being the longest skein I spun this year. I just made one longer, and that was my yellow sunrise spin. That was 417 meters. This one is 415.8. But that also makes it so that now, at the start of Tour de Fleece, I was at, well, before I started spinning, I was at 1 kilometer, 650 meters of yarn, actual spun and plied yarn. And with this one, we have just reached over 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers and 65 meters of yarn, of actual usable plied yarn I have spun. Now, if I count all those plies and the plying separately, we're already at 6 kilometers. That is amazing. I love it. Yes, I'm going to keep smelling it. And of course, immediately, the next one. I'm a little bit fed up with being in the studio. It's almost 6 o'clock. I've been here for an entire working day. I'm fed up with it. I like Tour de Fleece mostly because it allows me to spin outside. But today is a rainy day. That kind of hinders me going outside a little bit. I'm going to go inside in the living room, continue spinning my bat, but I will not take you with me. Tomorrow is Monday, which is a working day, which means I will not be spinning, or not as much as I can on a weekend day. And I know for Tour de Fleece that I do not have to have another skein every 2 days, but that would be cool, right? So I'm just going to continue spinning the Sunday away, so that at least I have made up for weekdays. I'll see you tomorrow. Boop. Hello friends, do not be alarmed by the color of my fingers, for I did not get into any kind of freak accident. I just have been making jam. Delicious jam at it. Now, I want to talk about my fingers just a little bit, because I was editing the footage of Saturday and Sunday, and I want to prevent my pets being thoroughly peeved by the technique essentialists going into my comments and saying, Jente, if you have to pinch hard while short forward drafting, then you're doing it wrong. It's not that I have to pinch hard, it's that like the slightest bit of pressure makes my fingers want to stretch all the way past normal movements, and that shit hurts, man. That shit just not good, not good. When I'm long draw spinning, I only have to use so soft movements that my fingers don't want to do that weird flexy thing. Maybe I should invest in some ring splints or something for my fingers when I'm spinning. That could be very much a nice to have for spinning. Now, the nice to haves for spinning were also a requested topic for this Tour de Fleece vlogs. Ha, nice segue, I'm such a good YouTuber. I am actually of the belief that spinning gets a bad rap for being an expensive hobby, while it actually should not be an expensive hobby. Like, historically, people probably have started spinning by rolling fiber on their thighs. So next to fiber, actually, you need absolutely nothing. But of course, it is nice to have something that makes the spinning a little bit more efficient, like a spindle or a wheel. It is also nice to have something to prep your fibers with, like combs, or a carder, or if you're really on a budget, dog brushes. And then what I also think is nice to have, but that has less to do with the act of spinning itself, and more with what you can then later do with your yarn is to have either a niddy noddy or a swift so that you can skein it. Like, I know you could technically do it around the back of a chair, but it's nice to have something that just goes a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer, a little bit more efficient. But those things also don't have to cost fortunes. As you have seen, my niddy noddy is just 5 sticks strung together. A lot of the tools that we have that are nice to have are perfectly DIY-able, so the entry point to spinning is actually pretty low. If you want to put some effort in it, yeah, you could, like I have carved my own spindle whorls. You can carve your own spindle stick. You can rig 5 sticks together, and there you go. Boom. All the rest is just luxury. But of course, luxuries are luxuries for a reason. So I am going to admit that sometimes there are some luxuries that really do tempt me. I already have 5 wheels, which is like extraordinary luxury, but I mean, I have told you about my loosey-goosey joints, and I think that a double treadle wheel, but like a super smooth double treadle wheel, would be so good for my hips. That would be so, I imagine it just to be very comfortable. So right now I'm at a point where I'm like, if I'm ever going to buy another wheel, it's probably one of those super fancy double treadle wheels like Magicraft Aura or something, or a Schacht Matchless, like they just look so comfortable to spin on. I have my Wernicking over here, and I don't spin on her very often because it's really heavy to treadle, and that's super tiresome. So I don't spin on her as much as I do, for example, on this Louët, because this Louët spins very soft and light and smooth. So I like that. So yeah, if I would buy another wheel, it would be like a Magicraft Aura or a Schacht Matchless or something like that. Just a very smooth double treadle action. Actually, what the hell am I doing? It's dry outside. Why am I filming inside? Silly. I really prefer spinning outside to spinning inside, and that maybe even has like made a connection in my brain that spinning is for summer and not for winter. So if I would have to pick a dream location to spin, it would be outside. It would be somewhere outside, preferably in nature. Maybe like on top of a mountain with some historic ruins, preferably. Or maybe like in an open air museum. How cool would it, for example, be to spin at Guédelon, like the castle that they're still building in France? How cool would it be to just be spinning there, when they're actually building a castle outside in the open? That would be pretty epic. Or my husband and I once went to Catalonia, and like in Palamos there is a castle that is like on a cliff but also next to the sea. Beautiful location to be spinning, I think. Something like that, yeah. Oh yeah. Bath number 3 is done on day number 3. I told you the Shetland was just going to last me a week or so. Anyway, it's almost 9:30 in the evening. I think it is time to do such wifely duties as sitting in the sofa together with my husband. I'll see you tomorrow. Friends, I'm almost forgetting something. I promised you to show you the package that I got from my Tour de Fleece Secret Santa, didn't I? And it's the last day of this first vlog, so I think before we get started on that fourth bat, we should do that just real quick. It's really good. I peeked. This package was sent to me by Mars, who is one of the mods actually of my Patreon Discord. So when I saw on the track and trace that it was from them, I was very excited because Mars and I, we vibe on a lot of levels, but especially the aesthetic one. First off, we got some snack, sherbet lemon. There also was a pack of pear drops in there, but that's at my office and I like just sudsing on it whenever I'm working. Just so many cute goodies and trinkets, very, goblin core. Like, look, stamps. I like stamps. I like stamps so much. Butterfly. Butterfly. Pokemon cards. And Chikorita is my favorite Pokemon, but also the Dunsparce. That's it, that's it! Nobody will know that. Crochet Dunsparce. All just really cool, cute Pokemon cards. I love it. Another little trinket bag with a stitch marker and just such cool buttons. I really enjoy these smaller ones, like the leaf. And this one. I feel like one of my Tour de Fleece projects in the end has to be a cardigan, not a sweater, just to incorporate these really cool buttons. Also, frog! Of course, frog. And now we get to the part that you are actually interested in, and that's the fiber. First off, something really cool and potentially challenging. Fibers from hedgehog equipment, flax or linen, and hemp. Dyed silk cocoons. Amazing. And dyed silk carrier rods. This is so interesting. I don't yet know what I will do with it, how I will process it, but it's great to get stuff that like gets your creative muscles working. It's also just really interesting to look at and to feel. It's like completely different feeling from the silk cocoons, but that's probably because the gum is still inside. Yeah, I'm excited to use this. This is so different, so unique. And then 3 hand-blended, hand-processed wool bats in just amazing colors. Yeah, that will spin up so mossy, so goblin-y. I'm already in love with the potential future yarn. Thank you, Mars! Up here with the subscriber plaque. Yay, frog! Frog. And now we can get officially started on that 4th bat. And then we're like nearly halfway through the Shetland already. I think this is going to be it for today, for it was a working day. It is now 7:30 in the evening. I should go and have some dinner and then afterwards edit this all so you can see it 6:30 Central European Time tomorrow. Of course, I am not the only one who is actually speeding through the Fleece. No. Over on my Patreon Discord, woo-wee, we have been going like crazy. And to prove that to you, here is the total number of meters that we have already collectively spun. And for those of you who are not familiar with the metric system, I also have it in yards if you prefer. Anyway, that was it for the first 4 days of Tour de Fleece. I will see you on Sunday when we continue these shenanigans. So, if you like this kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe. But of course, that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you on Sunday with continued Tour de Fleece shenanigans. But before we do that, here is some more spinning shenanigans if you just can't get enough. Bye!